I've worked with hundreds of founders and I see the same pattern over and over again. In scaling sales, the successful ones go through the same 6 phases. The ones who fail make exactly the same mistakes. Give me 10 minutes and I'll show you what those 6 phases are and I'll set you up for success. Phase 1 is finding product market fit. You've had some initial interest. You've asked some people some questions. Look, if we had a thing, would you buy a thing? Would you pay us money if we solved a problem? And enough people have said yes, and it's convinced you that this is a thing. Now what you need to do is get some money off these geezers. And you need to go and find who's your ideal customer. Speak to them. They might have multiple pain points. You might have done value proposition canvas as well as your initial business model canvas. And so narrowing down those customers, you need to get to one customer type, one ICP. You need to get to one product that you're selling because you might have options. So at this stage, you're experimenting and you're trying lots of different things. You need to get it down to one ICP, one pain, one product, one route to market. And at that point, you then need to document that process so that it's repeatable and scalable. And that's phase 1. Phase 2 is still you. You still haven't hired anybody. This is still you. Now you need to run your playbook. Nobody knows more about the product, the customer, the pain, the problems, the routes to market than you. So document it and run some reps and iterations on this so that you feel like it's dialed in. And then if you hired somebody, you could give them this process and they could execute the process. This is where you go and hire your first salesperson, which is now phase 3. You are not hiring a VP of sales. You are not hiring a sales director or a sales manager. You're hiring a salesperson that can sell and has been proven to sell a product that looks like yours to a customer who looks like yours using the route to market that you have chosen. You are not hiring somebody that thinks that they would like to be in sales or that would like to sell your product or has some affinity with your customers. You are hiring a salesperson. You wouldn't hire a software developer that couldn't code. You wouldn't hire an accountant who just thought they might like to do bookkeeping. You need to hire an expert, somebody who's done it before. My ideal first salesperson has been promoted rapidly 2 or 3 times in their former company. They might well have worked for a US-owned SaaS business, so they've had tons of training. They started in a big cohort, and then through attrition, they ended up being the 1 or 2 or 3 people that came out of that cohort that can actually sell. But their company doesn't have a role for them, or they've gone somewhere else, and it's crap. And they hate the customers, and they hate the product, or they hate their boss. But at some point, they have spent some time, and they can prove to you that they can sell. And they can pick up the phone and make calls. A number of people say, oh yeah, I could make calls. Go on then, pick up the phone and make a call. And then they just go in a cold sweat. Ask them to prove it to you. Talk to their former boss. Don't hire somebody you cannot say hand on heart, this person is amazing at this. This is too important to you to just fluff this bit. Now, what we need to do in phase 4 is make it predictable. Now, you need to set some KPIs. I'm not going to get into should you pay commission or not commission. I'll leave that for another day. But you need to set some leading indicators. It might take a while for people to sell things. It might take a while for people to get up to speed. But what it doesn't take a while to get up to is to just do some activity. So if your playbook says you need to do 8 agendaed meetings a week, then the people you hire need to do 8 agendaed meetings a week, 2 of which typically are new business and 6 of which are normally for moving the pipeline. How many cold calls do they need to make? How many emails do they need to send? Are you selling in LinkedIn DMs? What's your playbook? You know it works if you do it at the volume that you've proved to do it at. So they need to turn up, and within 2 weeks, they need to be doing it at the volume you were doing it at before. Don't let them off the hook. You're the head of sales. Don't abdicate this and expect them to do it without you. I think you should have 2 sales meetings in a week. One is, let's review the pipeline, deals in motion, and the other one is, what new business activity are we doing this week, and did we do it, and what are we doing next week, and what are our commitments? Have those as 2 separate meetings. It'll make your life so much easier. And lastly, always hire 2, because what happens is if you hire 1 and it doesn't work out, you'll blame yourself. You will say, well, it's the product, it's the customers, it's the market, it's the economy. Maybe our onboarding and training was shit. No, hire 2. That way, if one of them is significantly better than the other, you haven't lost 6 months going and finding a new one. And if they're both amazing, fucking brilliant, because you're 6 months ahead. Phase 6, Haha, we get to hire a sales leader. Excellent. Now, again, this isn't about abdication. This is about acceleration. When you have got 4 sellers, the data says very clearly the next person to hire is a sales leader. And so at this point, you have been the sales leader up to 4 sellers. Now let's get a sales leader in. You should have a working machine. There should be 4 salespeople. Now I suspect that you will have been running the Michael Jordan playbook, which is that those 4 sellers that you have hired are pretty self-sufficient. And as long as they hit their numbers, their activity numbers and their sales numbers, you've probably been leaving them a little bit alone. You probably haven't been digging into their CRM and making sure that their CRM data quality is where it would need to be. And that's going to be a wake-up call for them when the sales leader comes in, because if you want to scale from 4 to 10, you're going to have to put processes in place. And those processes are sticking to the script, making sure that the CRM data is accurate, making sure that we're not giving it away. And again, how to find this sales leader. You want somebody that has scaled a business like yours, selling a product like yours to a customer like yours already. Not somebody coming down from Microsoft into a startup or sideways from a business which has been around for 10 years. You need somebody who's used to the pace. And so if you've reached product market fit and say you're at $1 million ARR, and your next phases are 3 and 9, then you need somebody who's taken a business like yours, maybe it's a SaaS business or a services business, and taken a company like yours from 1 million to 3 million to 10 million, and not somebody who's been working in £100 million business and thinks they know what to do, because honestly, they don't. And you don't have time and you haven't got the risk tolerance. It's either it's your money or it's your VC's money. Either way, you should have no tolerance for hiring people who have not done this before. And there are enough people around who have. That means you don't have to hire somebody who's making it up on your dollar. You are still doing the biggest deals, because when you have a sales leader with a sales team, they are selling off your playbook. But there are other deals. And at my time, at Rackspace and at Peer 1, and with clients, New Signature, others, where you see massive revenue shifting deals done by the founders. At Peer 1, we started with an average order value of $249 a month. 5 years later, we had a customer spending $1 million a month. At Ragspace, we started off at $99 per customer per month. And by the time I left, our largest customer was spending $52,000 per month. And so those large deals weren't done by the salespeople selling what we'd always sold. They were really, it's you, the founder. You go in, you look somebody in the eye and you say, look, trust me, I can fix this problem for you. And on the spot, you make up a new version of your product. You're betting the company on this deal often. And those are the deals where you want your sales team and your sales manager to put you in the room, and then you want to be doing those deals because they can't do them without you. They're not going to make something up that doesn't exist for 10 times more revenue than they've ever sold before. That's still on you. And even with a sales leader, the revenue number is still yours. It's not theirs. Nobody else started this company. Nobody else understands the importance of driving the revenue like you do. Look, if you found this helpful, I unpick 33 myths in 33 days. There's a link below in the description. Sign up for that. These are the essence of my book, Mind Your Fucking Business, which busy founders seem not to have enough time to read. So I've taken the essence out of it and I bang it in your inbox every day, 33 days. It'll change your life.